Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is a little bit after 1 p.m. here in Crystal Lake, Illinois. Sorry, I'm running a little bit late today. I had to get my coffee ready, and I just ran out of time this morning, so I apologize for that. But we are here now, and it is time for another live stream. Today is Tuesday, November 1st, 2022. Judging by the number of people who are here today, I'm guessing none of you guys won. Actually, I know nobody won the big Powerball jackpot, so sorry, guys, but you know what? I didn't buy tickets anyway. So I guess it's okay that, I guess it's good for me that nobody won, but, I would have been pretty happy if it was one of you guys too. But everyone that's listening in the audio only version in the podcast, hopefully you're having a good run out there today. Weather in Chicago is absolutely gorgeous for a nice long easy run, which I had today, about 12 miles out in Moraine Hill State Park. It was lovely. Hopefully you got a little bit of the same, although I am very worried about the weather for New York Marathon this weekend. And then everyone watching this on YouTube after the fact, hopefully you didn't have too rough a day, and that cleaning up after dinner is going well while you got this all in the background. All right, so yesterday was Halloween. Normally Tuesdays I like to do trivia, but I'm not going to do a game today because today I think we're just going to eat some Halloween candy. So we're going to go through some of my daughter's. I rummaged through their candy bags and picked out a couple of things that I thought it would be fun to just eat on camera and hang out and talk to you guys and see how your guys' Halloweens went. Mine was eventful overall because this is like a relatively new subdivision, and some of the people that we know that have lived here the longest only moved in like a year ago. You know what I mean? So like people are pretty new here and everyone's still kind of meeting each other. And I feel like the vibe of the neighborhood is still kind of like being set, you know what I mean? Like as we go. So, sorry, I just realized that there's something in my pocket that was bothering me. It looks like a piece of candy that maybe got run through the wash. But anyway, so we got some candies here. So we'll try that out. We met the neighbors, which was pretty cool too. So it was nice. All right, let's see who we got here in the chat. We got Runner Well says, "Oh boy, looks like the leftover Halloween candy bonanza. Hope everyone has an amazing day." Yeah. Yeah, some of that stuff, I didn't bring the York peppermint patty. Yesterday, I was like, who gives those out anymore, right? Like why? Like kids don't like. That's not a flavor profile that kids like anymore. Like why do they give those out? And like the second house we went to, we ended up meeting up with one of the baby's friends from first grade. That other girl, we've always known that this other girl lives on like the next street over. But we were like, I don't know where. I never met her before. I don't know what she looks like. I don't know what her parents look like. But we ended up trick-or-treating up that way, and then we ran into them. They were all walking as a group. And first house that we went to, they gave out York peppermint patties. And my daughter's, the baby, her friend goes, "Grandma, I got this for you because I know it's your favorite." So everyone that got a York peppermint patty only got them, it seems, to give to their grandparents that came along trick-or-treating. Martha says, "Hey everyone, here early to compensate for my missed and late appearances recently." Well, you know what, Martha, it's okay. We're glad to have you here always. Don't feel like you ever have to make it up, but good to see you too. Sean says, "Hey everyone, with a wave and a short walk with the dogs today. That's nice. Otherwise a couch day. Being patient, letting the body do its healing thing." All right, there you go. And Bichon Mom says, "Hi, all, bad news. I didn't hit the Powerball." Yeah, it's all right. Philip Bourne says, "Yo, what's going on? Joining in after a 31K midweek long run." There you go. That's a long one. Thanks to a public holiday in half of Germany. That's a very odd holiday. I guess it is today. Wait, what day is today? Today's Tuesday, though. So your holiday's on a Tuesday? Interesting. Eliza says, "Hi, Co-Fam. No kids came to our home, so I've been eating all of the candy." That's amazing. And Kyle says, "Thoughts on New York City weather looking a bit like Chicago 21. Yeah, it's going to be hot. I haven't looked at the humidity, but because New York starts off later than Chicago does, it's going to be warm. So for a lot of people, you're going to feel that high of the day. It's going to be in the 70s, they say. When I saw the weather for like the day after, it looked like there might be rain there. So I don't know if that's going to be a humid 71 or a regular 70. I also feel like a November 70 is different than like a May 70, right? And so like I still am bringing throwaway clothes. And I'm still packing a warm layer for after the race because I feel like I'm going to be cold on the beginning and at the end. I still think it's going to be one of those days for those spectators that are there in the afternoon. Like standing in the shade is still going to feel chilly, and they're going to want to have a little bit of a layer on. You know what I mean? And so I feel like uh, it's not going to be. I don't think it's going to feel as hot as Chicago was 2 Chicagos ago, but it's going to be a warm New York. People have been saying it's if the weather holds, it's going to be the warmest New York in like 60 or 70 years. So it's going to be warm. I think it might be like the first time in a long time where like salt is going to be a big issue for a lot of people for the New York Marathon. So, all right, let's get to the first piece of candy. Let's go with this is always one of my favorites. Almond Joys. Almond Joys have nuts. Mounds don't. Right. So the Almond Joys. I like the Almond Joys. I never liked them as like a kid. I think maybe at some point like in college or so, I turned around on them, and now I'm a big fan. I like it. It's just kind of a weird way they do it, like these fun sizes, because it's like one almond on a bed of coconut and then some chocolate on top. But I don't know. I'm not going to complain. I think it's delicious. That's a good candy. I like that one. I'm really surprised though, given like the resurgence in popularity of coconut. Like coconut's in everything, right? Every fad diet includes coconut in some way as well. You know what I mean? It's a really popular ingredient, both in regular cooking, fad diet cooking. My running buddy swears by coconut water, especially on a big weekend. I feel like for the next day, he likes to have coconut waters, and I'm just like, that stuff's gross, dude. He loves it. But I don't know. I think my palate's just changing as I get older. I'm appreciating. I like desserts with coconut in it now. Before I hated them, but like, give me like a chocolate cake with some coconut. Feels like a delight. That's good. Almond Joys, highly recommend. All right, Terrence, what's going on? Terrence says, Kobuzi, you mentioned the Nova 3 trail and the Nova 3 the other day. I was thinking about getting the trail version since it kind of both the road and trail. But he said it's not a good. What do you mean by that? I think that the rubber kind of like takes some of it mutes the benefit of the FF Blast Plus a little bit. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like a dampener on it. Yeah, it makes it last longer by having a little bit of extra rubber, maybe gives it a little bit of extra tread too. But also you feel less of the FF Blast Plus. And so that's what I mean. It's not quite as good. So like, I feel like for the light trails that are around me, I don't feel like I have a real problem with the regular Nova Blast 3. I'm looking at them over there. That's why I keep looking over there. I don't feel like I have a problem with the regular Nova Blast 3. Now, I think come wintertime, will that little bit of extra rubber kind of help if something's a little bit slushy? Maybe. Yeah, I think so. So I feel like it's an interesting idea. Or for people that know that they're harder on their shoes, that the rubber just doesn't last as long for them as it does for other people, then I think that, it's something to look at. Also, my bigger, taller friends that are running out there, I think they might also be able to look at it and go, okay, well, that little bit of extra rubber isn't going to really affect the way the shoe feels to me. So maybe that's another way to look at it. So that's kind of how I see the difference between the two is like, I don't think that the outsole changes that Nova Blast 3 trail into a trail shoe. It just gives a little bit of extra durability and a little bit of extra grip, but by no means would I call the outsole pattern lugs. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like the Pegasus and there's like Pegasus Shield, and then there's Pegasus Trail, right? I think it fits more in like a Pegasus Shield in terms of kind of like how much grip it has. Although some people complain about the Pegasus Trail grip no matter what, either way. All right, Jay-Z said, one trick-or-treater last night, so much candy left to eat. We had a bunch. And it seemed like it was mostly just kids in the area, like most of the kids were somewhat familiar. They feel like I've seen them before. I didn't get the sense that we had a lot of kids like commuting to come to our subdivision, which is that's what I expected a little bit more of. But I think the reason for that is that like some areas in Crystal Lake are extremely hostile to pedestrians. So like this area that we're in, there's a lot of roads here. I can easily do like figure out a neighborhood loop that gets me a good 6 miles and not repeat any of the same roads without kind of leaving the subdivision. There's kind of like mini area pockets of the subdivision that all kind of connect. But outside of that, like it's hard, like all the roads are really busy and there's like zero area to like run on. So like I feel like if kids wanted to say like ride their bikes to go from like one place to the other, it'd be really hard for them to do. And so like that's like I got the sense that it was mostly pretty local kids though. One thing that did make my wife and I happy though is like one family came up and we got the peanut allergy in the house. And so we have a lot of like non-food treats as well. And then you put non-allergy like allergy or those kinds of families usually put out a teal pumpkin to let trick-or-treaters know that like you got non-food treats available too. And so one like lady had her minivan. I'm guessing like she got off of work and was bringing her kids around through. She was driving through the neighborhood and then she saw our house and then kind of like stopped real quick. And then the kids came out and her young daughter had to like this was their first year with a type 1 diabetes diagnosis. So she was like, "What can I have, mommy?" And she was like, "You could pick from this bucket over here." We had like little slimes and like slap bracelets and a kitty cat headband thing. And she was like, "Oh, there's so many things in here, Mom." And like that made my wife really super happy. It made me feel pretty good too. But like that's like my wife's like really big on making sure all the kids feel as included as possible on Halloween. That's a big thing for her. So that made us feel pretty good. That was like my feel good story for the day, I guess. All right. All right. Let me scroll down and catch up with you guys a little bit. Sorry. Oh boy, I've been rambling. Eric says, going back to the Nova Blast 3, I really don't get the doubt about the Nova Blast 3 outsole. I use it on everything, wet, dry, light, buff trail, all good. Just put 60 plus K on those bad boys in Chicago. Great shoe. That's kind of how I feel, Eric. But like, I mean, when people complain about it, I'm like, your mileage will literally vary. Like someone was, I just got a comment. I think it was either yesterday or today. Someone was like, "I don't know. I've been hearing bad things about this outsole getting worn out after 70 miles. And I'm like, you're commenting on a video where I'm showing you the outsole after 100 miles. Your mileage literally can vary. But I've shown you where I've run and what it looks like afterwards." So I'm like, you're asking me to respond? I've already responded to you. You should be responding to me. You know what I mean? Like people, I don't know what goes through people's minds sometimes when they comment, but I'm just like, I just showed you, But I know that some people are harder on their shoes. So there's that aspect to it as well. And like, I just think that there's still a lot of people out there. I mean, we've been all hanging out for like the last 2 years, like every day, right? So you guys have heard me probably at least like 200 times talking about how there's too much rubber on outsoles and it makes the foams less exciting. So you guys have heard me talking about this, but there's a whole universe of runners out there that haven't heard that before. And when they see a not full rubber coverage outsole, they might be like, "Well, I don't know. Rocks are going to chew that up." I think that's what it is. Like, welcome to the internet. There's many runners here. You're welcome. Like enjoy. Come into this space. I think that's what it is. All right. But Sean says though, I felt like I was on black ice on some sections of the road the other day. I'm assuming you're talking about in the Nova Blast 3. So I mean, I think it can depend too. But like the thing I always want to be like, well, there are certain surfaces that I know I could be wearing. I could have some Mafates on. I could have the Speedlands on, and I'll feel slippery because I know like that surface is slick, So I feel like sometimes people are like, "Are they giving me the full context?" Or does I'm not saying, Sean, that you would be misleading, but sometimes I feel like people are very eager to be like, "Well, I slipped," and I'm like, yeah. So Sean says it wasn't 100% of the time, but the Nova was sketchy AF for me. I think it could depend on foot strike too, and again where we're running. But I understand that some people have a different experience. But for me, I'm just like, I feel like there's a decent amount of rubber on the outsole of the Nova Blast 3. I don't know that I wouldn't want more because I got more in the trail version and it affects the ride, I think. Oh, and Sean said it was just wet from the night before. All right. New Betra says, though, he likes a Puma grip. He says Puma grip is ace on everything. Makes me want to pick up some Deviate Nitro 2s for winter. So I mean, I like the Puma grip. It's very grippy, but there's always just so much of it. It reminds me a lot. Like, I think the way that it's designed too, it just looks like a Brooks shoe. It make all the Puma shoes from the bottom look like Brooks shoes to me, and I'm like, you guys need to maybe rethink that a little bit. Not that, well, I guess I am the inference there that I'm very clearly making, or the implication that I'm clearly making is that Brooks shoes are boring. But yeah, well, I got a Brooks shoe in for review, Glycerin 20. That'll probably come next week. But I'm just saying, like, I think Puma's trying to differentiate itself from Brooks. Wouldn't want to be considered in the same kind of like category as Brooks. So I'm like, I think it's odd that their outsoles look almost the same. Like I think that if there were like a what shoe is this, and I showed you two shoes, you wouldn't be able to pick out the Brooks Ghost from the Deviate Nitro. I'm pretty sure. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, it says Puma grip on it, so that's how you would know. But if you blurred that out, I don't know. All right, next candy. I didn't know these came in little fun sizes. Like, is this cheaper to do than the gold wrapper? Like the ones how they're individually wrapped? I don't know. I think it's weird that they're in this kind of wrapper. I've never seen this before. Like, I know that, like, at my mother-in-law's house, when they do the Christmas baking, one of the youngest kids' jobs is usually to open the bag of Rolos, and they're wrapped in like the gold foil, and just unwrap them all so that they can bake with them. So the fact that they're in like these like actual like candy wrappers is a little bit weird to me. But I love Rolos. Rolos are one of my favorite. I think Rolos are superior to Milk Duds, for sure. Even though on paper it's the exact same candy. Milk Duds are too firm. The caramel isn't right in the middle. So maybe that's an unpopular opinion. I don't know. Philip Bourne says, I have almost 500 kilometers or 310 miles on my Nova Blast 3. I appreciate the Imperial conversion. Outsoles has only some mild wear in the toe-off area. Going to get a second pair of them and use it for my Ultra in January. Oh, nice. Wow. You must be really gentle in your foot strike, Philip. Because I think I have appropriate level of wear on mine I think I've got about 130 miles in mine right now. I don't think that they're like exceptional in terms of the rubber wearing down or not. And I think it's about what I would expect for a shoe in terms of grip. But you're seeming to get really good results. Steven C. 1984 says, the Continental on Adidas shoes is incredible rubber. I feel like I always got really good grip on the Bostons. And then I think the other remarkable one was the Adios Pro 1. Remember when they just had a slick, it was like a 1 millimeter thick layer of just slick rubber on the forefoot? I ran in that shoe in snow, like plowed, packed snow, but like I did workouts on snowy roads and that, and it turned out fine. I was like, I don't know how this is doing it, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good rubber. Excuse me. LFC91 says, bought the Nova Blast, put about 60K on it, and just don't get on with it. We'll never wear it again. Most overrated shoe of the year. Mach 5 is much better. I could follow you for this whole comment until you get to Mach 5 is much better. Like, the Mach 5 is a really good shoe. It's one of my favorite shoes this year. And I don't think it's all that different from the Nova Blast. Like, conceptually, they're trying to do the exact same thing. Like, the idea that someone would have like vastly different results from the Nova Blast and the Mach 5 boggles my mind. I'm having a hard time envisioning it. But I mean, I'm glad you found something else that you like, because the Mach 5 is a really good shoe. I think it's ultimately ending up being underrated just because I think Hoka's quiet this year. I don't know why. I think one reason is because we haven't seen their Rocket X2 yet. I mean, we've seen it every single race. We see it, but it's not going to be. I don't think it's going to be sold this year. But like from the road division, I think just it's been pretty quiet for Hoka this year, and the Mach 5 is not getting a big splash. I just think it's really good. I've run with that thing on trails too, and that has no rubber outsole. But and I've had pretty good luck with it. But that's really interesting. LFC. I'm trying to think why that would be. I mean, maybe you don't like the trampoline pod thing in the front of the Nova Blast. Is that it? I don't know. I'm perplexed by that. Kyle says, main problem for Nova Blast 2 for me was the stability issues. Is it fixed or improved in the Nova 3? I think that they're always dialing in better and better the heel stability of that FF. Well, now it's FF Blast Plus foam. And I think, though, I'm not sure. If you thought the Nova Blast 2 was too squirrely, if it wasn't stable, then I'm not sure you're going to like the Nova Blast 3. Because it just, I'm not saying it's more squish. There's more squish to it. There is a lot of control to that squish. But just overall, I have a feeling you're probably not going to like it. I mean, because like from 1 to 2, it went from like super like wild to like this is a little bit more muted. Same thing, but like we've made it less crazy. And then number 3, I feel like they made it more crazy, but not as like reckless. I guess I don't know if you guys are following me on that one, but that's kind of how I feel like it was. They were still able to. I think they were able to bring back the excitement of the number 1 with a level of control that was in number 2, but it's still like there's a lot of movement going on in the shoe. Martha says she had to gingerly walk to traverse about 6 ice patches yesterday, about 100 meters each on the trail. Man, Colorado running's weird. Outsole on the Edge Plus did quite well. Yeah, I think it's the Swiss cheese grater holes that they put on the bottom. I feel like that ends up being a pretty good grip pattern. All right, next thing, I already started opening it because I was so hungry, is Haribo's. We don't always get Haribo's at our house because I know these are like, everyone likes these the best as far as gummy bears go. But as far as like peanut safety, my wife's always like, I'm not sure I trust them. So I'm like, oh, okay, whatever you say. But you know what I like about Haribo's? These white ones, these pineapple flavored ones are so good. And this pack, oh man, it's my lucky day. Maybe not the day to buy a Powerball ticket. 3 reds and 3 reds and 4 whites. The pineapple are my favorite. Red is also good. That's a good day. Scott's just coming out and saying it though, that Brooks shoes are boring. I'm hoping, I bought the new Glycerin 20. Martha, what was it you were telling me it's called? Stealth Fit? The Stealth Fit? I think it looks great, but I'm not going to get to it till after the marathon. But man, I got a lot of videos coming up in a short amount of time in the next 2 weeks. It's going to be a lot. Video output has been a little bit slow like the last 2 weeks, but like in the next couple weeks, there's going to be a lot of videos. I also just got to 100 miles in the More version 4 today. Man, that was easy to do in that shoe. That shoe's great. I really like that one. So like that's coming up, but that probably won't. I don't know if I'll be able to get that. I don't know if I'll get that one out this week. I've already got a video planned for Thursday, another shorter one for Friday. Maybe I'll do one on Saturday, but I don't know. I might just wait till after the marathon to put that one out. Stephen76 says, according to Roadrunners, Brooks Ghost is the number one selling running shoe in America. That's the same fact that I've heard as well. But something I think about, and I don't know, maybe I shouldn't talk about this because I don't know the numbers. I don't really know enough about it, and I feel like I'm spreading gossip. But like, I think that when it comes to shoes that sell in running retail, and I think this is something that running retail has kind of survived on, but also like almost to its own detriment, is that when I go into a lot of running retail and, you know, they like, will be like, hey, we'll recommend you some shoes. I don't let them do that to me anymore. But back when they did, I would always be like, are these shoes that you guys think that I would actually like based on the shoes that I told you I already like? Or are these shoes that you guys get some sort of sales incentive, whether from the store incentivizing the salesperson or brands incentivizing the stores in terms of like promotional bonuses, that kind of things. So that's something that always has, that's why I feel like no matter who you are, anytime you go into a running store, I know not every running store does it, but a lot of running stores you go in and let's say I go in and be like, can I see a Clifton 8 and a Peg 39 and a size 9, please? They'll probably also bring, oh, this just came out too. You might like this. Ghost 15 just released this week. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's the thing that I know. My understanding is that Brooks is not the only company that plays that game as well, though. But every time they're like, Brooks is the number one running shoe in America, I'm like, why? Because it's not my favorite. I mean, who's putting it at number one? You know what I mean? Believe in the Run isn't putting it as their daily trainer of the year. Road Trail Run isn't doing that. I don't think Wear Testers is doing that. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm always like, why is that one? You know, I feel like what would surprise me less if it was like the Nike Roche. There's like an $80 shoe. It's black and white. I don't know what the EVA foam is on the outsole, on the bottom. I don't think there's rubber on the outsole. Nurses wear it. Physical therapists wear it. You know, like I feel like that would make more sense because it's like an $80 shoe. But the Ghost, I'm like, really? Okay. I don't dislike Brooks. I have some grudges, but I've never been a huge fan of the Ghost, I guess. Frank says, I keep trying to get unsuccessfully to get my dad to run something other than the Brooks Adrenaline. Are they getting rid of the Adrenaline? What's the difference between an Adrenaline and Glycerin GTS at this point? Is there a difference? I don't know. That's confusing me right now with Brooks too. Eric said he tried the Ghost 14 last year and hit me like a painless stone running shoe. Those are your words, Eric. I'm not saying those words. I'm just reading out them to everybody. He said, it looks like a running shoe, feels fine, nothing special. High drop 2 eek. The 12 millimeter drop is what gets me on that. I'm like, you guys sure you still want to do that? Do we really need a 12 millimeter drop shoe? I mean, I'm usually okay with drop. It doesn't bother me that much. And I'm not so naive to think that a lot of 10 millimeter drop shoes are higher than that. I feel like I could feel it. But I also feel like the Ghosts say that they're 12 millimeters, but sometimes I feel like they're more. And I know that could just be the way that their foams are. And I know that they usually have one foam in the heel for the crash pad and another one in the forefoot for their roll through, but that might make it feel like even more. But I don't know. It always just feels so tall. Like what? There's another shoe that's always 12 mil. Is it the Wave Rider, the Mizuno? I think that one's always 12 millimeters too, isn't it? And every time I'm like, can we try 10 next year, guys? Just let's try something new. Because I don't think anyone that like has been like, I've bought the last 8 Ghosts in a row is gonna be like, man, I used to love the shoe. It was great. 12 millimeter heel drop is great. I love it. That's why I bought it. But they switched to 10 millimeters and now I'm out. Like, I don't know if that'll happen. But then on the other hand, it's like, if it's the number 1 running shoe in America, why would you change it, I guess? I don't know. Runner Dre says, I like Brooks. No wow factor, but they're solid. I've enjoyed the Catamounts. That is a good shoe. On my 3rd pair, ooh. Though I'm guessing it has been discontinued since I haven't heard anything. Yeah, well, I'm interested to see at TRE if there's any update on that. I liked it too, but that's another shoe where I feel like, you know, when you change the rubber outsole and you add more rubber to the outsole of a shoe, it really messes around with how it feels. So like the Catamount does not feel like a trail Hyperion Tempo, you know? And a lot of it's because there's not a ton of rubber on the outsole, but there's enough to make it feel very different than the Hyperion Tempo. Dr. Josh is here. He said, my pair of Invincible are almost at 1,000 miles. And a new pair of React Infinity 1. I started using in August or at 700. Man, that's a lot of miles in 2 shoes. But that's not your first pair of Invincibles, is it? I feel like you've done that already to another pair. All right. Let's see what else we got here. Cody's here. He says, if I didn't have to work 2 jobs, I'd probably have more wear and tear on my Nova Blast. I think I got like 15 miles on them. Oh, really? Well, you're going to have to put some more miles on those. All right. Next, we're just going to go with a regular old Crunch Bar. Nothing, I guess, special about it, except it's a Halloween fun size, and Crunch Bars are delicious. You know what? I remember, I don't know why the camera's not focused on it, but like, whenever I think about a Crunch Bar, I think about like, dude, rice can be anything, right? So when I think about rice, I've grown up eating rice, as you can imagine by looking at me. But like, I grew up eating rice, and I have a certain conception when I think about it. But then like, I think about, there's other people that when they think about rice, they think about Rice Krispies and Crunch Bars. Because Crunch Bars are, and I'm reading from it, it says creamy milk chocolate with crisped rice. Like, in what world, when you eat one of these, do you think this is the same thing that comes in bibimbap? There's no way. It's like, how is that the same food? I don't understand. But it's so delicious. I mean, it's really good. I love Crunch Bars. Scott says, have you decided on your New York City shoes yet? Yeah, I got a couple of pairs of shoes that I'm already wearing around. I got a surprise for you for casual wear. It's getting elaborate now. And then I think for all the shakeout runs, I'm going to wear that white near Fresh Foam More version 4, the New York City edition. And then for the race, I'll do the RC Elite, or SC Elite 3. I was thinking that I was going to try to run anywhere between like BQ pace plus or up to plus 10 minutes. So like 310 to 320. But now I'm concerned with the heat. That's going to be very hot. And I'm not acclimated to heat anymore. I'm very much used to long sleeve and gloves and maybe some half tights weather, maybe full tights. So we'll see where it ends up being. But I think the way my training plan is, like the workout that's on the docket is 18 miles easy. I think I'm going to go a little bit harder than easy and do 26 of them. But I think that the SC Elite will be a really fun shoe to do that in. I think it's got plenty of cushion, even if I'm easing off the gas quite a bit. But also, if I'm going at that BQ pace, I think it'll be just right. Because then I think I'll be midfoot striking. I'll get that energy arc, and then the roll through on the compression on the toe off. So I feel like it's going to be a pretty good shoe for me, especially on some of those hills. Dr. Josh saying, I think Hoka is trying to appeal to a more casual market. You guys have been talking about some Hoka stuff back and forth in the chat. And Dr. Josh says, I think Hoka is going to try to appeal more casual market. Here's the thing. I don't think you have to pick a lane. That's the thing. When you're the size of what Hoka is now, like you can have like an enthusiast segment and you can have a casual segment, just like Adidas has their At a Zero line, and then they have everything else, whatever the heck else it is that like Ted Cruz likes, right? And then you can have the same thing with Nike. Nike has like their Alpha Flies, Vapor Flies, Streak Flies. They got their Spikes, Pegasus to an extent. They've got some really good trail offerings now, but then they got so much that's just straight up casual. You know, I think they could, like, they're still trying to make like running shoes that casual wearers will want. I think they should just make, and they're starting to do that. They should just make more like Hoka casual shoes. Just like Hoka Lifestyle. There's New Balance Lifestyle. There's Adidas, Nike Lifestyle. There can be Hoka Lifestyle shoes. I don't think there's a problem with that. Saucony has it too, with the Jazz and all the other like just casual shoes. Like it seems weird to try to like shoehorn their running shoes and like feed that to the casual market, where it's like you can have a couple of crossover units. It's people that might otherwise buy like Allbirds or something like silly like that. But you know, I think it's weird. Rainmaker also agrees. I still feel like Hoka's leaning into the lifestyle market these days. Yeah, I think that's where you get a lot of. It's where you move a lot of units. Because if you think about like, I mean, in this room here, in this live stream, we're not normal runners. We're buying lots and lots of shoes. But I feel like most people are buying like one pair of running shoes. And so I feel like if you really want to make more money, you got to get to the people that are going to buy more than one pair of shoes a year. And that's probably people that are wearing them because like, I got this one because they're white for summer. I got this one because they're black for the fall. You know, that kind of thing. But like, I get it, but like it doesn't have to be sell them the running shoes. All right, we'll try something else new. I've never seen this before. It's a Haribo product. It's called. I'm feeling that we're not going to get focus on this. It's called Twin Snakes. Here we go. Focus. Twin Snakes. There's two kind of like Twizzler, mini Twizzler kind of things in here, but they're supposed to be. Are they sour? One side sweet and one side sour. Oh boy. I think am I supposed to guess? They're kind of like two, and it's like mitosis. Oh, they're spreading. I thought these would pull apart better, but they're not. Oh, here we go. Is the purple side the sweet side? Or the sour side? I don't know. I think the purple side's the sour side. They both kind of taste a little bit sour and a little bit sweet. Maybe I've been eating too much candy. I can't tell. They both tell. The red side, oh no, this one is, oh. This one got tart at the end. There we go. That's it. Have you guys had this before? It makes you pucker a little bit. That's more sour than like a Sour Patch Kid. Even though it doesn't have the sour sugar stuff. Well, Freda says, Heiko, how will daylight savings ending on Saturday affect everyone for Sunday? I think it's going to be good because you give everyone an extra hour to sleep, right? Because the clocks go back. So everyone that's not used to waking up really early, you got to wake up. The race starts late in New York, but you wake up super early because you got to get everyone to Staten Island, and then you close all the ways to get to Staten Island to start the race. So you got to get everyone there first, and then people can start going out. That takes a while. I think with an extra hour of sleep, that's going to be good for everybody. So I think that's a plus. Does that always happen this weekend? If they do, that's a good idea. But although isn't daylight savings like ending, like it not having any more, right? Ever in the US? Is that true? My mother-in-law said that over the weekend, and I was like, "Oh, really? How come I've not heard of that?" Oh man, I've been rambling a long time. You guys have been chatting. Dwayne Scott says, if I have to use that much force to split the two snakes apart, it's going to be me for half a life. Maybe. Who knows when I'll be pooping that out. Scott said, do the kids know you're eating their loot? No, they don't. But they don't usually go through it that fast anyway. So I don't even think they'll notice. Yeah. Sean says, Twin Snakes sounds like a marketing department named it at 5 p.m. on a Friday. I had a friend that worked at he still works at a marketing agency. But I have a friend that works at a marketing agency, and at his office, they had, someone had rigged up a little Raspberry Pi thing to a keg. And you'd swipe they figured out a way that you could swipe your ID on it. And if you had put in all your timesheets by 5 p.m. on Friday, you could get beer after 5 p.m. on Friday. So it was like, that was like the incentive for getting your timesheets and stuff in and getting everything done before 5 p.m. on Friday. So that way the bills could go out, in a timely manner, that kind of thing. But I always thought that was pretty funny. So, that very much could have been what happened here. Or maybe there's something in the original German that doesn't translate. I don't know. It seems to me like kind of a play on what Twix is doing with left Twix and right Twix. And I'm just like, that's got to be one of the most imaginative marketing campaigns, like left Twix and right Twix. I'm like, come on. This is very silly. Even for candy. And then someone's copying it. I don't know. Maybe I'm not the target audience. Kurt says, my kids have peanut allergies. Last night we went to 2 houses and they were like, trick-or-treating stinks. We don't get to eat most of this. They quit at house 2. I'm sorry about that, Kurt. I know the feeling. My wife was saying that in the neighborhood, I don't know if I think it's the neighborhood Facebook group. It makes me feel really old because my wife reads me stuff that she sees on Facebook. We'll be in bed and she'll be like, oh, listen to what so-and-so posted. And then she'll start reading me something from Facebook and I feel super old when that happens, but I refuse to be on Facebook. But there's a neighborhood group and there's someone else with a food allergy. And so a post got started around for all the houses that are going to have the non-food treats. And then you can always look for houses that have teal pumpkins because that's what the thing is. So that's how the kids know that there's going to be non-food treats available for them. I'm sorry they had that experience. I know how much that sucks for kids. I don't know personally, but I can sympathize. I think is the right word. Sorry, Kurt. All right. So Eric says, no, we still have daylight savings. Right? Nothing agreed to yet. I don't know what my mother-in-law was talking about. She's like, oh yeah, the Senate agreed on it. It's a bill. Like, this is the last daylight savings we're ever going to have. And I was like, really? I feel like we should have talked about that more. I'm all for it, but I feel like it should have been talked up. I feel like in terms of some of the victories people are talking about, things we accomplished this year, both sides could be talking about that. That'd be a good one. Affluent Journey says they introduce bills about it all the time. I wish that they would just go ahead and pass it one of these times. All right, next thing we're gonna do some more gummies. Sunkist Fruit Bites. It's a spooky edition. There's a bat and a ghost and a spider on it. I think it's incredible that on this one they go to they actually make the effort to be like, hey, these are healthy for you. On the side, there's a little underneath the ghost over here. There's a checklist of things on a little fake sign. It says, "Oh, peanut and fat free." That I appreciate. No high fructose corn syrup, antioxidant, and excellent source of vitamin C. I'm like, oh, okay, well then I guess I could eat it. I mean, it's Halloween candy. I don't know. I do appreciate when these are hard. Well, these are not good. I feel like these have been, what's the expiration on these? 5/30/2023. I feel like these were probably left over from last Halloween. Oh. Guess what country these were made in? You'll never guess. Ah. Anyone guessing what country this was made in? Mark Peterson says Tajikistan. I think it's kind of close. Eric says Thailand. Catherine says Germany. Dr. Josh says Austria. The correct answer is Turkey. These were made in Turkey. I don't know if you could see that. It's all the way up here. Boom. That's a long way for fruit snacks to go. Don't you guys think? I mean, I think that's great. I'd love to visit Turkey someday, but not for the fruit snacks. These are not good. They're all stuck on my teeth now, too. Frank says about daylight savings. What happened was they made daylight savings permanent, and a bunch of people, like Co, were upset that it wasn't regular time that was made permanent. At this point, I don't care which one they pick. Just pick one and let's stay with it. You know? I'd say whichever one gives me more daylight in the winter. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter which one gives you more daylight. But which one gives me more... I don't care. Just pick one. I don't know when we're on daylight savings or when we're off daylight savings. Like, I've never been able to figure that out. I don't know what the like Central Time and Central Standard Time, like that. I don't understand the difference with that either. I have no idea. I have a really difficult time with all like the time zone changes generally. Daylight savings makes it even more difficult. And the fact that in the UK, daylight savings was like 2 weeks ago or a week ago, wasn't it? It's not even the same across the world. So it's like, I don't know. I don't understand. So let's just get rid of all of it. Matt Legrand's here. He says, yo, what's going on? What's going on, Matt? Good to see you. Hope you had a good Halloween out there. All right. I got 2 more candies left. This one is a Kit Kat. We talked about Kit Kats yesterday, how they have so many flavors. This one I think is just a regular Kit Kat flavor. Yesterday when we were trick-or-treating, one of the houses had like full-size candy bars, and one of the kids like that we were with, maybe kindergarten, first grade, that kind of age, grabs his hand in, grabs like a big 4-pack, like a full 4 size of white chocolate Kit Kats, and he's like, Mom, what is this? And the person who like gave him the candy is like sitting right there. And he's like, Mom, what is this? White chocolate Kit Kats. And then the mom goes, you love white chocolate. You do. Remember? And she's like, oh yeah, I do. Yes. I love it when you can convince your kids that something is familiar and that they like it. How do you guys feel about these small size Kit Kats? They always aggravate me. Like, isn't one Kit Kat a fun size? It's a quarter of the size of the full size Kit Kat. A quarter of the size of a Snickers, full size Snickers bar would feel like a decent amount of candy, don't you think? This is smaller than a quarter. I'm still going to eat it, but I don't think it says fun size on here. It's all that shrinkflation, I guess. Is that what people call it? I feel like that's not a great word. Yeah, Jason says, going back to daylight savings, add into the mix that some states don't observe daylight savings time either. Yeah, that always messes me up too. I've gotten to the point where I feel like I'm being like a diva about it a little bit, but when I schedule stuff with people, I'll say, can we do it at 11 a.m. for me where I am? I'm like, because I don't know where you guys are and I get time zones all mixed up. So can we do it at 11 o'clock my time? Or I'll say like, can we do it if it's someone I know that's in, when maybe one person's in New York, I'll be like, let's do it at like 1 p.m. New York time or 2 p.m. or whatever, because I have to do it that way. Because I can't just say a time. I have to be like, for you, what time? And then I'll just Google back. What time is it in New York from now? And then I'll figure it out that way. Yeah. Jed Brown says, how is this live chat so troll free? I think that you guys do a really good job of policing it. Because you guys can do like mute people and stuff. And I'll mute people from time to time too. But I don't know. It's great. I think that's the beauty of sometimes having some things be obscure on YouTube. Like YouTube's clearly not promoting this for us, but I think that's okay. Because of the people that are following the channel are like figuring it out and finding it and hanging out here, and it's like a good group of just runners. So I feel like it works out. Oh, by the way, this last one that I'm eating is a coffee crisp. I just got hungry and started eating it. I'm a big fan of coffee crisps. What do you guys like better? Twix? Not Twix. Kit Kats or Coffee Crisp? Or are they not even comparable? I like Coffee Crisp, probably because it has the word coffee in it. Tracy says, sleep experts have been debating. Staying with one of them is supposed to be worse than the other. Oh, really? Versus like daylight savings on or off. Can't remember which one. Yeah, I think that as long as we just pick one and stop doing this change business, I think we'll be fine. I don't know. But then what would people complain about if we didn't have daylight savings to complain about? Mark Peterson. We're going to end on this one today. Mark Peterson writes, quote, I like Kit Kat unless I'm with 4 or more people. Mitch Hedberg has such funny jokes. He's the king of one-liners, man. Such a good one-liners. My favorite joke of his is with the donut. Donuts and receipts. That's such a good joke. All right, guys, that's going to be it for today. We're going to leave it there. Tomorrow we'll have another live stream, same time as today, 1 p.m. Central Time. I'll probably be eating more of my kids' candy, but it'll be our last live stream for the week because then I'm heading out to New York. So tomorrow's the last time I'll see you guys until I see you guys, hopefully, in person over the weekend. All right. So in the meantime, until tomorrow, be safe out there, everybody. Thanks.